So here's another question that one of our followers has posed to us, and that is, why do people with nystagmus have null zones? How does that happen? And why do your eyes wobble more in one direction than others?
Yeah, that's a brilliant question. There's going to be a very short answer to this one, because we don't know is the punchline. Just to backtrack, put a bit of context on that. Essentially, people whose eyes move, so they have nystagmus, often if they hold their eyes in one particular direction in their eye socket, so relative to their eye socket, left, right, up, down, whatever, often the wiggle is a bit less, and that has visual benefits such as speed of seeing things, for some people even reading slightly better on the chart, that kind of stuff. What that means is then we call that a null zone, and then that null zone obviously then makes you adopt a particular head posture to make the most of it when you're looking forwards, and so that's what null zones and head postures are. The actual question was, why does that happen? Why does the brain reduce the nystagmus in one particular direction of gaze? And the honest answer is we have absolutely no idea. It's something about the tone in the muscles, and we know that. So if this muscle's pulling a bit harder and that one's pulling a bit less, for some reason the brain dampens the nystagmus. We don't know why, but we know that's certainly a major component of the cause, the route which it happens through. Because if I move the muscles around and trick the brain and say, well, you're still pulling it that hard, but actually I've moved the eye slightly to the side, then you get exactly the same response. So that's how we move these null zones to the middle, sometimes with surgery on the muscles of the eyes. All we're doing is tricking the brain into thinking it was there when actually it's straightforward, to make it much more simple and easy and more comfortable for people. But the fundamentals of why the brain does that in the first place, we just don't know. So it's a really good question.
So it's your brain that's making your eyes wiggle. It's not like the muscles in your eyes, because sometimes I see people online say the reason they have nystagmus is because the muscles in their eyes are really weak and they can't make them stay still. But it's your brain that's making your eyes wiggle.
So it's all part of one loop. So the muscles only get triggered to do anything by the nervous system. So if you disconnect the muscles from the nervous system and the brain, they'll just sit there. They're just muscles sitting there waiting with no clues or no cues at all. So it's absolutely a combination of both, we think. How much of that repositioning is because of muscle tone in and of itself, and how much is because of basically feedback to the brain saying this is where the eye is, this is what you need to do, we don't fully understand. So about sort of 10 years ago, every form of nystagmus was put down to something in the brain, but actually recent studies on some types have said actually there's quite a lot of computation goes on in the retina. So for some types of nystagmus, it may be more the retina that tunes these things, but either way it's still very much linked with a very complicated system of your eye, the muscle, the nerve that tells the muscle to do stuff, then various other nerves and parts of your brain leading all the way back to the part of the brain that really sees stuff, which is right at the back actually. So again, that's a classic doctor's answer with lots of technical, complicated stuff in it, but the punchline is, we don't know.
If you've got anything else you want us to discuss or any burning questions you want us to answer, then please put it in the comments below.
And if you could press some of those buttons at the bottom, the heart ones, the thumb ones, whatever they are, apparently that's good to get people to see these videos. So please do that.